Hiya, 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 hiya. And a happy Christmas, what is it now? A post-Hanukkah, pre-New Year, happy Christmas, Merry. We got all these holidays bunched together, which is good. And we can have one big clearance sale. I think the country just got went on clearance. Russia's trying to buy it. Did they buy it already? Oh, I wasn't looking. Anyway, this is ho ho ho, and that's the way I learned it when I lived in Harlem. You know, we had a bunch of hoes, and that was Christmas. You know, I'll tell you something really good though. The Trump got a vaccine. Did he got a booster shot? Well, there's a guy that wants another shot, and there are other people who would like to give him a shot. But we can't talk that way, you know. Then the FBI will be over here and want the tapes, and it's digital. But if the FBI comes here and they want to research this, they got to call the FCC. The FCC is under Congress, and none of these guys know their jobs anyway. So I would be free to run all across the world. I would go to Europe. And nobody would notice. Yeah, you know, I was watching David Letterman is on the Lincoln Center celebration. He was there with Bette Midler, and he came out with that grotesque face. And you know, I love David. I mean, he even stuck up for me on his show one time with Paul Schaefer, who should love me because Paul used to get material from me when I was on in Buffalo and he was living in Toronto. So Paul, come on, butch it up. So Letterman's coming out there with this big thing hiding his face, trying to be unnoticed, I guess, or unknown. If you want to be unknown, why don't you do what I do? He looks like one of the Smith brothers or ZZ Top, you know. But the fact is that he wants to look that way. He doesn't want to shave ever again, I guess. That's all right. There are people who do that. Yesterday I had the Bird on my show. Of course, you know, she's always wanting to be the co-host, and it's a hostile takeover here at Birdland. So what she did yesterday was she was on the floor walking, and I guess Jay Sorensen spotted it. It's on my video, where the squirrel came and was eyeing the bird. And I said, the squirrel doesn't want to eat the bird. The squirrel is after the bird's food. And that's it. I'm going to eat the squirrel. No, I wouldn't do that. Come on, I'll just make a hat out of it. So this is it. It's a good day to be happy, frivolous, and make fun of everything because that's all anybody does anyway. I'm going to tell you my Trump story for Christmas. My two Christmas Trump stories. It's a Wonderful Life, where they were going to do a school play with Donald Trump playing the part that Jimmy Stewart played in the movie It's a Wonderful Life, and Clarence the Angel comes. The only difference is that when they get to the bridge where Jimmy Stewart's going to commit suicide and Clarence talks him out of it, well, with Trump, he said, go ahead, jump. I'll be unpopular with a lot of people. Half the country now just went on hold. See, this is a split country. You know, you got half the people saying, and they want to know something. I'll tell you about Trump. Let me tell you about him, okay? He bought the Plaza Hotel in New York, which is probably the most beautiful hotel. There are a lot of them. There's the Waldorf Astoria, which is world famous. All the presidents stay there. But he bought the Plaza, and it was magnificent. And when he was married to Ivana at the time, and they used to fly fresh flowers in from Belgium every day for the desk. You know, they really knew how to run a first-class operation. They were a very lovely couple. He got married at the Marble Collegiate Church, you know, which was Norman Vincent Peale. That was his church, and Arthur Calandra replaced him and married Trump. Now, I mean, he didn't marry him. He performed the ceremony. Don't get crazy. So now, what was I going to tell you about Trump? So I was having breakfast in the Oak Room at the Plaza Hotel, which is very, very expensive. They don't even put the price on the menu, you know. And I was with somebody that I really wanted to fancy, you know, a client of sorts. And I'm sitting there, and the waitress came over and she said, "What would you like, sir?" And I said, "I don't know." And the person sitting next to me says, "Well, I would like what Donald Trump has for breakfast." And I said, "Don't be ridiculous. He has people for breakfast. He's got two business deals he's chewing up." And boy, did I get booed and ignored. But you know, when people get mad at you when they're waiting on you like that, and they walk away, you don't have to pay that big tip. That's one way, insult them, insult your way out of a tip. That's got to be another book. There's a book on everything. How does everybody know how to live when I've gone all these years without a book? And the only one I wrote is Let a Smile Be Your Umbrella, but Don't Get a Mouthful of Rain, as you know, and it's not a telltale book. I can only tell you this. Every celebrity, whoever they get very rich, they get very famous, and they get very loaded, either drunk with power. And I mentioned Letterman earlier. See, these stars don't look good later on because they don't have to dress up anymore. They already proved their point. The only person I know in my entire life who kept it going was Joan Rivers. And she was really always very elegant, very beautiful dresser. And she was a comic. She didn't have to dress. She could wear jeans and a midriff and still get laughs. But she was an elegant lady, and always wanted to look fine. And she shopped at Bergdorf Goodman. So did I. But I wasn't wearing her things. Not yet. I'm looking at them now. But, she was very, very lovely all the time. Very beautiful dresser. She never would go on television or in person anywhere without being totally made up. And I'll tell you something else about her. When I followed her on the air, at WOR, her show was on and then I got on. I'll tell you what happened with her. One day I walked in there and her producer, Marilyn, had bandages all over her face. And I said, uh-oh. And I looked in the other room and I see that Joan's writers, one of her writers had bandages on his face. And then Joan had some bandages from another one of those facelift surgeries. And I turned, I went into Joan and I said, bring me the dog. I want to see the dog. I was sure that dog was going to have a lift. Those poodles always have the, no, which is the ones that have the droopy face? One of those, a bloodhound, right? They could use lifts. But see, you can't change animals. I'm not trying to give the bird anything to do except the bird is trying to cut my sound off here. The bird is she's the biggest distraction I have in my life. She just doesn't want me to perform because then I can give her all the attention. And these birds, it's like they don't eat worms. This is not one of those. This is a cockatiel. You have to go to a specialty store, And hey, listen, this is a very expensive 5-star dinner when you have one of these birds. This is not anything that you just frivolously throw something at and say, oh, okay, here's a head of lettuce, go to it. No. I'm a good guy, though. I love my animals just like I love my ex-wife. I don't know. I hope she's not watching this thing. But there's something that you should know. I slept with who was it? One of the famous movie stars' wives, and Mark Elliott wrote the book about her through his life story, and my wife never knew until she read the book. That's why you don't want to write a telltale book. That's what you don't want. And Lord knows what's behind my beard, let alone David Letterman. Yes, every celebrity has a beard or recovery. I tell you this, I checked out a supermarket the other day and on the front page was Brad Pitt. And he's in rehab and he would do things differently. He has regrets. He had a few. I did it my way, like the song goes. And see, when they recover and they get this sort of amends that we make with people whose lives we have upset, then all of a sudden everybody runs the other way. You have more friends when you're still when you're abusing and using, and when you're crazy as shit, as all get out. But I don't recommend it. It's a Reynolds Wrap. The bird still wants me off. This is it. All right, I'll go tweet. It's a Reynolds Wrap.